Welcome, travelers, to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable. For when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
I've always had a fear of the dark. The idea may seem silly, but not for me. No, I could see what lurked in the shadows. It was not monsters. Well, not in that sense. No, it was something entirely different. It's the reason you fear going downstairs at night, why you irrationally run back to your room, and why you tuck your feet so tightly under the covers. It is the realization that despite everything, you lack control. Because within the darkness, there is none, and anybody could be watching. It has always been this way, ever since I was a child. Many nights my mother would comfort me. Jen, just close your eyes and remember, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Never forget, morning will come soon. She never intended the words to become a life lesson, but for some reason, her words stuck with me. But so too did the fear of the dark, which really did not help considering my new job. I'd be a customer service representative, which was a fancy name for a cashier. The clincher was, I had to work night shift. Now usually, that would not be enough to worry about, but there was more. My new job was at a rest stop, literally in the middle of nowhere. Situated on a usually busy stretch of road, the little shop and the surrounding area was deserted at night. When everyone slept and the world slowed, I'd be there, alone, for 5 miles in every direction, for 8 hours, surrounded by a neon sign and the emptiness of a dense forest in every direction. I would have nothing but my fears. My boyfriend and I argued, "We need this, Jen. Besides, you can always call or message me." But he missed the point. He always did. Being alone and vulnerable with only my thoughts for company would drive me crazy. I knew my mind would play tricks on me. I knew I'd jump at every little sound. But I had been unemployed for a while now, and he was right. We really needed the money. So, against my better judgment, I arrived at the rest stop for my first night. My new manager, Tim, greeted me as I entered. "Thank God you're here. I've been doing double shifts for a whole week now. I'm dead, honestly." I tried to smile, but my anxiety was already fizzing its way through me. The sight of Tim was unsettling, but in my fragile state, everybody was. "The till is balanced. Make sure you lock up at 10, and if anybody needs anything past that time, serve them using the window." He paused for a moment. "Oh, and Jan, have a great night, honey." And that was my introduction. No sooner had I met Tim, he had vanished into the night, and in that moment, standing within these brightly lit aisles, miles away from everybody, I knew I had never felt more alone. "Come on, you can do this." And then my phone rang. It was my boyfriend Jason. "Jen, I've been thinking." The call cut off abruptly. I immediately tried my phone back, but he didn't answer. He really needed a new phone. I decided to look around a while I waited for him to call back. There was nothing of the interior. In front of the till were 4 aisles, and along the back wall were a row of refrigerators containing various alcoholic beverages and ready meals. Behind the till was a small office that contained a computer, chair, a small window, and a CCTV monitor. Thankfully, I could see the whole shop from my post behind the counter, but still, I was very much aware of just how brightly lit everything was. The shop was illuminated, but the outside, well, the sun was just beginning to set, and soon, the outside would be black. Anyone lurking would have a clear view of everything, of me, of the fact that I was alone, and I'd be able to see nothing. I'd be exposed. The horrid anxiety began to grow. I could feel my breathing quicken, and a nasty feeling of dissociation washed across me. Without thinking, I shut my eyes as tight as I could and began to whisper, "The morning will come." My arms trembled at my side. "It will come soon." The sudden notification on my phone startled me. "Sorry, Jen. I've been called into a meeting. How is everything going?" I replied, "I'm okay." The lie was easier than the truth. And that was, the morning will come soon. Rain, a river of rain. As it neared 10 o'clock, the skies opened up, and the heavens unleashed upon the world. Outside, a storm brewed heavy, but inside, thankfully, I felt safe. Hours passed by, one at a time. I thought I heard a car pull up, but nobody came inside. I started to worry a little less, telling myself I had my phone. I could still message Jason, and that helped. In a small way, being able to message him made it feel like I wasn't completely alone. But that would soon change. Outside, the sun had set, and I could faintly see the outline of trees through the torrential rain, swaying violently against the wind. The time was not 10, but I decided it was time to lock the door. No more than a minute or so after I heard it, knocking. I turned to the service window, my breath caught in my throat. The man was unsettling. He had a long, unkempt beard, and looked as if he lived in the forest. His clothes were torn, his face dirty, but somewhere behind the mess of long hair and rain covering his aged and weathered face, I could make out a sharp, piercing glare. His long, filthy fingers were outstretched as they moved rhythmically across the glass. He smiled a crooked smile. I carefully reached out and opened the window slightly.
"Evening, beautiful."
My heart strained.
"Here all alone?"
My hands trembled as I stepped back. It's my first night." I don't know why I said it. It was hardly an answer to his question, but my mind had already started to swim. The anxious feeling crept in. All I could think about was how alone I truly was.
"You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "It's dangerous."
Terror, absolute terror. It was not just the sudden appearance of the stranger. It was not even his creepy choice of words. Behind him, the endless abyss of darkness seemed to swell, as if enveloping us. It consumed the trees, the forest court, and the shop. It encased us. It concealed us. For all that might have been out there, for the world that may have existed outside of the veil, inside, the only thing that existed was me and him. Can I get you something?" He shook his head in response, becoming agitated.
No, listen to me. You shouldn't be here. It's dangerous."
I had to do something, even though I knew the door was locked and he had no way of getting inside. The fact that the window was open, even an inch, caused me to panic. It felt as if the world was unsecured, that somehow, through that tiny little gap, he could find a way inside and hurt me. I just had to get the window closed before I could think. He moved. But he reached in, and in one swift movement, forcefully caught my arm. His long, slender fingers wrapped around me tightly.
No, you have to let me in. Let me in."
The dread that had started as a sizzle erupted. My world collapsed. The night seemed to pulse. Without thinking, I acted. I slammed the window hard against his arm, and he cried out in pain. I slammed the window a second time, and then thankfully he released his grip. On the third attempt, he retracted his arm, and I slammed the window shut and locked it in place. Through the glass, he sneered at me, a look of confusion and hurt in his eyes, and then he turned and slunk back into the soaking void from which he came. By then, I was on the verge of tears. I ran into the back office, slamming the door behind me. My first thought was to call Jason. The phone rang, and it rang, but he did not answer. A few seconds later, I received a text. "Hey Jen, still caught up in the meeting. What's up?" Somehow I managed to reply, "Please come and get me. There's a man here." Time slowed. What if he's still here? What if he comes back? Why am I here? In that moment, I cursed Jason for not understanding my fear. How could he let me come here? Is money more important than me? Tears began to fall from my eyes as I struggled to breathe. I knew I had to make sure the strange man had left. The CCTV hummed, notably against the silence of the room. On the small monitor, 4 boxes split the live feed from the 4 cameras that covered the outside. One displayed the forest court, another showed the entrance to the store, the third covered the refuse area, and the final camera displayed some of the parking lot just out the back of the store, and there, in the 4th camera, is where I saw it. It was Jason's car. My phone vibrated in my hand. I'm coming, be there soon. Within a moment, my whole life came crashing down around me. Somewhere outside were monsters, but not in that sense, no. These were entirely different monsters. Was my monster Jason? Before I could think, the bright glow of the lights sparked and vanished. My entire existence plunged into inescapable, thick, black nothing. The power had gone out. It was everywhere, and within a second, I was 6 years old again. The darkness coated every surface. It lined the walls and hung heavy within the air. It concealed, it covered, and it closed around me like a vice, sucking the life from me. My body trembled, my mind burning under the weight of the realization I was trapped. I was alone, and I had no control. Without thinking, my eyes shut tight, and I began to whisper, "Morning will come." I sobbed harder. It has to. And then I heard it, knocking, although this time it was coming from in front of the store. No, it was coming from the small window just behind my head. Do not turn around. I could feel something behind me, and I knew I was in danger. Don't turn around. I have to escape. Move! I began to creep. A slow, rhythmic knocking followed as I carefully tiptoed my way out of the office. I knew whoever was there could not see me, but I still felt their eyes on me. Their unknown intentions set my mind ablaze, and I imagined every possible grisly end, but I kept moving. I carefully made my way into the front of the shop, pausing every few seconds to give my eyes a chance to adjust. Everything was reduced to a silhouette in the empty darkness. The aisles, shelves, and meals were gone, replaced by nothing but night. As I neared the front of the counter, I stopped suddenly. There, on the floor, leading inward from the door at the front of the shop, across and past the counter, and down into the aisles, were a fresh set of wet, muddy footprints. Everything happened in slow motion. My head turned, and it was only then I noticed the sensation of wet night air blowing across my face, in through the wide, open door in front of me. I turned slowly to the right, my eyes following the noticeable trail, and it was then that I saw him. Crouched about a meter or so from me, down in one of the aisles, was the noticeable shape of a man. His features were obscured, with dark, playfully placed just right across his face. I could not make out his clothes, I could not make out who he was, but I could make out the whites of his eyes. An insurmountable amount of time passed as we locked eyes with each other. Our eyes never strayed. We were trapped, locked within the embrace we now shared. It could have been hours, it could have been minutes, but realistically, it must have only been seconds. Even through the shadows, I saw him inhale deeply, before letting out a deep and guttural howl. It was only then that our moment shattered, and before I knew it, I was running. Somehow I made it outside, but I was then grabbed by long, slender fingers of the man from earlier. I remembered him holding me close, comforting me, telling me that everything was okay. I remember seeing the faint blue lights in the distance, and hearing the wails of sirens closing in, and I remember when they broke the news to me about Jason. His car had been found around back, but Jason, well, he was nowhere to be found. How could I have been so stupid? The thought stuck with me. It played heavy on repeat, and it followed as I was ushered into the ambulance. It persisted when I got home, and it entered my apartment, and it lay down beside me as I collapsed and cried into my pillow. I thought it'd be with me forever, right up until the moment I noticed the unheard voicemail on my phone. "Jen, I've been thinking. I know how hard this has been for you, to confront your fears and take this job like you have. I want you to know I love you. But you are worth more than money. So, I have a surprise for you. I just pulled in behind your store. You're going to come inside, and then you're going to quit. You are everything to me. And wait. What? Who are you? The voicemail abruptly ended. Oh my God. In that moment, everything was clear. He had understood. He did care. And he had come to save me from this darkness. My phone vibrated. A message lit up my screen. Hey Jen. It's a shame our little shift handover was interrupted. Guess you owe me a little overtime. Be seeing you soon, Jen. I had been wrong. Jason had not abandoned me, but someone else had been watching all along. Suddenly, the safety of my apartment evaporated, and I realized just how dark everything had become. Like always, I shut my eyes tightly and began to cry. Morning will come soon, but deep down, I knew I would never see the morning light again. I would like to thank tonight's author or authors for allowing me to use their works. If you enjoyed this, the authors' links will be in the description below. Please check them out and let them know PA sent you. Also, if you like to walk around representing my realm and gaining new travelers, the links to my merch store, my website, and all my other social medias will be in the description below. As always, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my lovely Patreons. All of their names will appear on screen. I'll make sure to put all their links in the description below so you guys can check them out as well if you'd like.
But as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.